My family and I have been working on communication skills as a group collectively for a while now. Listening is not easy. In fact, it can be very, very challenging for a couple of reasons. One, you may have no interest in having a conversation. Two, you may be so focused on your own inner world and your own inner thoughts that you really don't have the space to hear someone else. Three, you really don't care about what the person is saying, so you don't want to waste your time listening to them. I don't know what number I'm on at this point, but we just want to keep going. It can be very, very challenging to listen to people when they're not right, if you think they're not right, or if you're just not in a space to receive someone's message. Unfortunately, because of the way life is designed, we're kind of forced to communicate and listen to other people because we have jobs that we have to go to, we have family that we have to live with, things of that nature. You're not going to be able to learn or work or make money or hustle or do any of these things if you don't participate in communication, which means you're going to have to listen to people at some point. So, in my mind, in order to do something or to be something, it would make sense that you define the word. So, I looked up listen. And what did I find? Listen is a verb, and a verb, as we know, is an action word. Listening is an action. Give one's attention to sound. That's what it was defined as. Be attentive. Concentrate on hearing. Give ear to or lend an ear. I really like that. Lend an ear. See, I like to reframe things. In order to listen, you are lending your ear to someone. That has an element of compassion. And that's a great segue into how to listen or to give your attention to someone. I have to listen through my heart because otherwise I don't care. That's just the bottom line. I care more about my own inner thoughts and getting new information on my own terms in my own time than listening to what someone else has to say to me. Because usually when someone's talking to me, they're telling me about something that's important to them. And that's why it's important for me to listen. Even if you're not interested in what the person is saying to you, there's an opportunity for you to learn. There's also an opportunity for you to give them empathy and giving them a space to speak to you when you really don't want to give them your attention. But just that one action of compassion towards that person feeds confidence into them. When someone listens to you, when you're impassioned, it gives you confidence. Because I know that's how I feel when I talk to someone, i.e. my kids, about something that's important to me and they listen, let alone when they reciprocate, I feel empowered. So listening to people gives them power. And it also gives you an opportunity to learn. Lending your ear. I like that. And that's why I like looking up the definitions of words. It gives me a better idea of what it actually means and what I'm aspiring to. It gives me a visual. I use visuals a lot in learning. Symbols, music, repetition. These are ways that I learn and remember the things that I read. In my independent study, when I was researching how to listen, because yes, I did, I researched how to be a better listener. And I came across 4 types of listening: deep listening, full listening, critical listening, and therapeutic listening. When I looked up how to be a better listener, I found 5 ways that you can be a better listener. The first one is to pay attention. And I guess that's easy to say and not as easy to do. Pay attention. I feel like that's a currency. Paying attention is your investment in having the opportunity to learn something from what that person is saying. And it's a challenge in discipline. Doing something that you don't want to do is discipline. And how you do one thing is how you do everything. So if you can pull yourself out of your own mind, focus your attention for the short period of time that is that conversation, and just pay your attention to this opportunity to learn. Listening then becomes not so much a chore, but a blessing, an opportunity. Number 2, show that you're listening. This used to be a source of contention between me and Judah because he would always be like, you get it? You hear me? You understand? Because he was like, you're not responding. I'm talking to you, but you're not responding. And it used to irritate me because it was like, I don't feel like I should have to make you feel like you're being heard. until it happened to me. Until I was talking to somebody that didn't reciprocate, and it seemed like they were just suffering through my words. And I don't want to waste your time. As much as what I'm saying to you is important to me, if you don't want to listen, just say that. Don't sit there and suffer through it. You ain't got to do all that. Just tell me. So showing that you are listening gives that person respect that you would want to be shown to you if you were speaking to someone about something that was important to you, or about anything at all. Because one thing I've been around long enough to know is that everything you put out comes back to you. And then when I started studying Hermetic principles and universal law, it's literally a law. Karma is not just hokum, and karma is just a name put to a process of energy transfer. It's just science. So I want to be listened to when I speak, because the things that I speak about are very, very important to me. So showing people that you listen will help them and will help you. So the third thing is providing feedback. That shows that you're actually listening, and that helps you solidify whatever you've learned. Repeating it helps you remember what you've learned. So I used to be a server, and I made a lot of money because I'm good at taking care of people. I'm very clean and very fast, and I can remember, like, after working somewhere for like 3 months, I can have the whole menu memorized. And I really cared about giving people good service. I used to get really good tips. So back when I was a server, I researched how to get bigger tips. And one of the ways was, if you can remember your customer's name, they're more inclined to tip up to 10% more. And then I researched how to remember people's names by repeating them. When you meet someone and they tell you your name, say it right back to them. Hey, I'm Fury. Hey, Fury, nice to meet you. You know, and then like ask a question, or just figure out a way to repeat their name more than once, and you'll be more inclined to remember their name. And people like that. It's called reciprocation. I like that. And I just have to say right here that listening is not just for the other person, it's also for you. Because I feel like people have a lot of issues in their life, and a lot of questions, a lot of fears. And I feel like if they would make spaces to hear other people's way of thinking, that it may help them in their own life. So this isn't, so I always thought that I got into researching about listening so that I could be a better listener, to be a better parent, because I thought I was doing it for my kids. But ultimately, I'm doing it for myself, because I'm doing myself a disservice not listening to people. How much information have I missed out on because I was so selfish and underestimating these people, thinking they didn't have good information? And that just goes to show you how much I need to grow, because how dare you think that this person isn't good enough to give you some information because they're different than you, or because they think differently than you. Now I've grown enough to know that I need to listen even more to people who are exactly different than me. They have ways of looking at the world that I don't have. I see the value now in using other people's eyes to look at the world sometimes, so that I can get a different perspective, or using someone else's ears, or putting someone else's shoes so I know what their journey is like, so I can have more empathy. Empathy is something that needs to be built in some of us. I have empathy to an extent, but I've been hurt so much that I can ice somebody out. I'm trying to be a better human. 4, defer judgment. And I've had to learn how to do that, and I feel like YouTube channels have helped me do that. There are times where I'll watch a YouTube video and they'll say something that I think is a little off, or that I initially might not agree with. And instead of just turning the video off, I go ahead and let them pull it all together. And I'm so glad that I've done that. Getting one piece of information and not the whole picture is very dangerous. And that's why I feel some type of way now, as an older spiritual person, being brought up as a child, a Christian in the church. It bothers me now, finding out at 42 years old, that there are missing parts of the Bible. It bothers me because I've grown up with people who were speaking as if they knew the truth, and that their truth was the only truth, and that was the definite truth, and that was what everybody needed to believe, and anybody else that didn't believe it was going to burn in hell. And that's just not true, and that bothers me deep down to my soul. So yes, deferring judgment. Like, I need the whole story. Don't give me a piece of the story. Tell me everything. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Just tell the truth. 5, respond appropriately. That is something that I'm being checked by the universe about a lot. not reacting but responding, which I feel like is just okay. Just say okay. When someone expresses something to you, you don't always have to express your opposition. Sometimes people are not telling you stuff so that they can hear your opinion or so that you can sway them to have your opinion. They really just want to get how they feel off their chest. And I'm having to learn how to respect that, especially with my Pisces kid. Sometimes he just wants to tell me how he feels and leave. Me, as a Scorpio, I feel like it's an even exchange. If you're expressing yourself, I need to express myself, and you should accept that. And that's just not always how it's going to go down. Sometimes people are just going to express themselves and leave the scene. And you're either going to make your peace with that or you're not. I'm real big on making my peace with stuff because I'm finding I cannot control other people. I cannot control how their actions make me feel, but I can control how I respond to that. I don't want to keep having animosity towards people when they do things that trigger me or say things that offend me. I don't want to carry that burden. That's why I forgive people. I used to be the type of person that held on to grudges, but I'm not anymore because that makes me sick from the inside. And I don't want to project that. I don't want to project my pain onto others. I want to heal my pain and walk around a healed person and spread my light and joy onto others. So those are the things I've learned about becoming an active listener. Pay attention. Show that you're listening. And that doesn't have to be verbal. It can be physical or a grunt. Provide feedback when necessary. You don't always need to provide feedback. But if you do provide feedback, the benefits of that are you'll remember what they said and they'll feel like you're listening to them because you repeated back to them what they said. And that can, in turn, make them a more confident person, which can help the world, and the world needs as much help as possible. Defer judgment. I don't really feel like you need to pass a judgment because if someone is trusting you enough to express how they feel to you, I don't feel like you should be judging them at all. And if you do have a judgment, keep it to yourself because that person is trusting you with a piece of their soul. So you should honor that by keeping your smart ass opinions to yourself. And respond appropriately, which to me means don't react. If someone, again, is trusting you enough to tell you how they feel, even if it's in anger, don't react to it. You can respond, but I don't see a benefit in reacting. We have to learn how to control our emotions and be less selfish. That's everything I learned about how to be an active listener. I love sharing what I've learned with you. I don't think I know everything, but I'm trying to learn a lot more than what I know right now. Peace.